So the second thing we're going to do is update the part here as specified on page 625. We're going to update this part from 120 millimeters to a 120. So if you have not made any modifications to your sketch up to this point, now's the time to make sure you're familiar with that. So you have two ways of going in to edit a sketch. You can simply pick on the plus button. You will extend out the sketch. You can then double click on that sketch and it will send you right into your sketch mode to where you can edit. Okay, so we could fix the dimension there. You could also right click on your extrusion 1. Oops, let me finish sketch. You always have to finish a sketch. You could also right click on your extrusion 1 and go into edit sketch that way, and it will take you to the same screen. So either one of those methods is easy to access, and you should be able to change your dimensions without any trouble. So I just did that, and right there we saw a dimension that was not constrained, so I need to put that dimension as 0. Oops, something is funky right there. Let's change that. I'm going to delete that angle off of there. That was one that came in on my auto dimension, so you have to be aware of those kind of things. I'm going to put that back at 0 so that part stays intact. So let's finish that sketch, and we will see that all of the offsets that we had created then changed and updated. So the relationship stays the same between the original sketches and the offset command, which is extremely useful in editing and modifying extrusions and sketches. So that's it for the gasket design. The second thing I want to go over is just some other basic parts that will be needed, or commands I feel like you will need for completing the problems in chapter 6. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this. I'm just start a new drawing. So I'm going to be in my inches, and just want to make sure that you understand how to lay out some information and copy stuff and mirror it, and how to draw a polygon. So if you have looked through your problems, the vent cover does require you to lay out some circles and lay out some intersection geometry, and once you lay it out one time, you're going to want to use that geometry over and over. So I'm going to stop right now. I'm going to lay that geometry out on that part, and I'll be back to show you how to mirror that geometry. So I'm going to go ahead and constrain this part to the origin of this drawing here, and try to get this part constrained before moving on to the mirroring feature. So I'm going to lock this down, making sure I have all of the dimensions specified. If I use my auto dimension, I have a feeling, there we go, just one dimension. Sometimes it gives some crazy dimensions there, but that's going to do me well. So I can go ahead and have that constrained and locked down before mirroring. So what we're going to use next is the mirror command. I want to use the mirror command because I don't want to have to duplicate this over. So I'm going to use the mirror. When you use the mirror, the first thing it's pointing to is to pick to select the objects. So I'm using my pointer. I'm just holding that button down, dragging a little box around that, and then the second thing it is going to ask for is the mirror line. And I'm going to see here if it'll pick the center point. And sometimes, let's see, sometimes we can turn this thing around and use one of the planes. Not working. So I'm going to have to construct a line before I can actually use that command. So I'm going to just real quickly draw two lines there. One is going to represent the x-axis, and then one is going to represent the y-axis. So there I have a line that I can use as I'm mirroring these this little slot. So use a mirror, pick the line, and then pick that, and it should mirror as you hit apply. So I like that. I'm going to hit done, and now I'm going to mirror these two items using a mirror line, pick that line, and done. And there we go. So I've real quickly been able to regenerate all 4 of those slots in that area. with simply using the mirror line. The next thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and start laying out. Let's go ahead and lay out the ellipse. So I'm going to pick the ellipse command. And down at the bottom it says to select the center of the ellipse. So we're going to select the first axis and then a second axis. And I'm going to define that in just a second here with the dimensions. So I can pick my ellipse there and just dimension. There we go. Dimension the actual ellipse there. 8 inches is the overall length, so I'm going to change that to 4 and dimension it this way, and we have 2.5. So that gives me the elliptical shape that has been defined. And what else do we need to put on there? There we go. Let's pick on that ellipse, and let's see if we can drag that. I was seeing if it was linked to the origin, and I'm not getting anything to move there. I'm gonna delete those dimensions and now see if I can pick and drag it. So it is linked to the origin there, but it's not allowing me to move. I'm going to back that up because I don't want to continue any further if I'm not able to constrain that. There we go. Almost done. Oops, nope, too far. So let's see, if I had an ellipse here, if I drew that here, and then dimension that to the actual origin. Make that 0, dimension from the center of the ellipse down to the origin of my drawing, make that 0, and now put the dimension of the ellipse on here, which will be 4, and then inside here 2.5, and there we go. Alright, that's kind of interesting, but there we go. We have that fully constrained, and the other thing we need to go back is add the circle to the center there that has a diameter of 1.5 inches. And the last thing that you don't know how to do is the polygon, so let me show you how to use the polygon command. So the polygon allows you to specify the number of sides. We're going to use 6 inches. In the AutoCAD method, if I had a circle that I was laying my polygon around, I could use my inscribed or circumscribed. I'm going to use my dimension feature here and change the polygon based on the outside dimensions. So I'm just going to pick a point here for the polygon, and I'm just going to kind of sketch this out there. And I'm going to do mine crooked just on purpose. I'm going to hit done. If you look at your polygon and you don't have it exactly straight, just know that you can pick on one of the lines there and constrain it to horizontal, and it will flip around. So we can make a modification there. Your size of your polygon, it can be adjusted by specifying the height of it. And to wrap this up, you can dimension this down to the to your axis, so that dimension will be 0, and then we will locate that at 3. There we go. So since I already have my mirror line, there's no reason why we can't select the polygon and mirror that over to the other side. Hit apply and done, and there we go. So that part is fully drawn. All that I'm left to do now is to constrain that, and I think you'll be fine doing that on your own.